What's going on, everyone? Jared Sandler here with you after game 2 of the Rangers Cactus League schedule. They are 0-1-1. So that bid for the Cactus League title off to a slow start, but that's okay. A lot of baseball left to be played. We're still too early to really present any sort of legitimate analysis from the games. I guess we could use things that happened in the game as a springboard for conversation. One fun thing that there's no real analysis here. It's just fun to see. At one point in the game today, Josh Young was at third. Davis Wenzel was at short. Justin Foscue was at second. Those three were first-round picks from the Rangers over the last 2 drafts. So that was fun to watch. The reality is, the odds are not in favor of those three eventually being the Rangers' third, short, and second baseman of the future. Guys get traded, guys don't, develop, whatever the case is. But those are 3 guys who certainly all have individually great chances to be a part of the future. As far as this game, as far as today's game, I think the thing that probably, if we're going to use something as a springboard that stood out, was Kyle Gibson's performance. Not because I'm taking anything away from one scoreless inning in which he allowed 2 guys on to start the game, but I think Kyle Gibson's an important part of this team because he's the one starter in the rotation who you feel confident could consistently give you 6 to 7 innings. He has been an innings eater in his career, although last year was a struggle. But remember, last year, he was still dealing with the after effects of all his challenges with ulcerative colitis. He is now a year further removed from that, and thus has gotten to a point physically where he is more of who he was prior to that. He had an offseason now, not trying desperately to recover, but an offseason to improve. And I just think you'll get a better year out of Kyle Gibson. I just think he's an important guy on this team because with so many young pitchers who are going to be cycling through, having a guy with the experience and the leadership that Kyle Gibson has is important. And it always helps to deliver a message when a guy is having success versus when he's not. But what I really want to get into today is Nick Solak. I want to kind of take a step back, consider Nick Solak's 2020 season and why he was incredibly unlucky. And, luck can bear itself out over the course of a year and then equalize or level off beyond that. But usually we see luck really step to the forefront in small samples, like a 60-game season, season in which Nick Solak played in 58 of those games. His stat line was not that impressive at all. Hit 268. That's not bad. That is better than league average. 326 on base, right around league average. But the 344 slugging was a far cry from the 491 slugging he demonstrated the year before. And simply not the level of slugging that you need if you want to be anywhere close to an everyday player. But I think what's important is this. You look at some of the numbers behind the numbers. Nick Solak's average exit velocity last year was 89.9 miles per hour. He was 1/10 of a mile per hour off from having a 90 mile per hour average exit velocity. And the reason that's significant is because Nick Solak, his contact rate in the zone was above 90%. There were 4 players in Major League Baseball last year who were 90-90 players, average exit velocity of 90 miles an hour, average zone contact rate of 90%. Mookie Betts, DJ LeMahieu, Anthony Rendon, and Evan Longoria. Whenever you get these lists, I always want to know who makes up the list. Is this a group of people that represent good company? And that list certainly does. Evan Longoria, I know, had kind of fallen off a little bit. Wasn't the guy maybe he was when he was at Tampa really emerging. But last year, Evan Longoria, was able to get some power back that maybe he hadn't demonstrated as much. But other than him, the other 3, we're talking about, if not MVP caliber players, 2 of them were. Anthony Rendon was, maybe not so much last year, but 3 guys who are consistently or have multiple times been a part of the MVP conversation, if not won it. I'm not saying Nick Solak is that player, but what I'm saying is that is elite company. And I think it's a suggestion and some objective data that Nick Solak got unlucky and that you should expect his numbers this year to be a lot better, especially from a slugging standpoint. They certainly need to be. Otherwise, we're looking at a guy who with the numbers he put up last year, is not an everyday player on a championship caliber team. I do think, though, Nick Solak is, like I said, much better and going to show that he is a guy who is more befitting of a top half of the order type of bat. I think the real key, though, for Nick Solak right now is just showing that he can play second base defensively. I think that could be his best defensive position. I think that there are limitations with the arm in left field, although the athleticism plays really well there. But I think that second base could be his best defensive position, and it's where he's most likely to earn playing time at the beginning of the year as the opening day second baseman. I love Nick Solak. I love watching him play. From an intangible standpoint, this guy has exactly what you want in a guy who's going to be a leader on your team. I don't want to compare the abilities to Michael Young, because Michael Young is a guy who was on the Hall of Fame ballot and got a couple votes. And there's nothing wrong with not getting in, but being on the ballot and getting votes. Nick Solak doesn't have the track record to warrant that type of comparison from an ability standpoint. Maybe one day we do compare him to Michael in that regard. That'd be great. But from an intangible standpoint, the demeanor, he has got the perfect demeanor to be a really good baseball player, to take on pressure. He's got, the even keel disposition. He's got that, that dirt bag work ethic mentality. This is a guy who I think would really benefit the Rangers from him being really good, because this is a guy you can build a clubhouse around. He's not going to be the vocal guy that to make that win one for the Gipper speech, but he's a guy who, when he speaks, you listen. And I think it would be great if he takes those steps forward offensively. I think he's got the ability to do just that. That's our Ranger conversation for today. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow as spring training rolls on.